Hi, portfolio workshop. So this is I did this last year, but we kind of like revised it, updated it again for this year. So hopefully there's some more useful tips and stuff this time. It's a little clearer. So we have a document that we put online that is kind of the structure of the workshop that we're going through today. And so we'll just talk about it and then you can read it online. To start, I think it's important to be really organized before you start your portfolio and have kind of everything set up beforehand. It just makes the process a lot faster. So if you have an idea of like who you're going to be sending your portfolio to, what kind of offices you're going to be sending it to, that's a good idea because you might structure your portfolio differently depending on who you send it to. And then also work samples are also, often you don't send your whole portfolio for an interview, you'll send a work sample and then you'll bring your portfolio to the interview. And work samples are good to you can be more flexible, more creative with work samples, with sheets. And then if you stick it in an envelope, it'll be like a teaser of maybe a few of your projects with an image on each page. And then that's what you use to entice the interviewer, and then you bring the portfolio, the hard copy to the interview, because sometimes it's expensive to print multiple portfolios. So you'll generally, of course, you want to set up the size, first of all, and we're kind of recommending nowadays like 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10 is pretty standard. Once you start getting really funky with the sizes or weight, it starts to maybe waste paper, so it's more efficient to do something about letter size, and then the sheet's bigger. And then and you have more room, it's just more practical that way. So this is 8.5 by 11, but maybe you want to trim it down to 8 by 10. Okay, so then content. You have probably a lot of work by now that you've built up, and your work changes per project. So a good way to structure your portfolio is to do it in sections or sleeves, so that you have like a basic kind of structure set up for the whole portfolio, but then each project is its own sleeve. So then depending on where you interview or what kind of firm it is, if it's like a residential firm versus like a big corporate firm, then you can reorganize the sleeves according to the person you're going to interview with.
And this is kind of a sleeve too, right? Like these little sections that make up the book.
Yeah. And so sleeves are good also for binding. If you're going to bind it yourself, like you normally will want to bind it in sections, so you can have that in sleeves anyway. And then you stitch together the different sleeves. So yeah, so that's an efficient way to do it. And we bind it together. So yeah, content might change, and order of projects might change. It's good also to, the way that you order your projects will, that should have some kind of organization too, whether it be chronological or by type of project, or you usually want to lead with something really powerful or something really, appealing graphically that will draw people in, and then you put like the not so good projects maybe in the middle, and then end with something good. That's up to you exactly how you want to organize that. And so setting up the structure is the most important thing for your portfolio. And so we got these tips from John, which are really helpful. And so this is my favorite part. Okay. So there's a really famous German guy that set up this, he was like the master on graphics and layouts. Joseph Miller Brockman. So he had he's written a bunch of books on this. It's called Grid Systems. He has a lot of books, and so he has a website too that goes more in depth about everything that he set up. And so this book is really helpful to start to see how a really fine grid can start to lead to a larger organization that is then flexible per project. So if you want to maybe have one project be more landscape oriented and then another one more vertically oriented, this grid allows you a lot of that kind of flexibility, but still keeping some things in mind. So if you want to look at this while I'm talking, it kind of explains what I'm going to show. So you can go online. We have the website is thegridsystem.org. And this is related to that book. And so this is like a big resource on kind of graphics and layouts, and it's based on the skydrocking system. And they have huge resource of information here. But if you go to the template section, this is where you can download different inside templates that are already set up for you. And so this is one that I'm going to use to demonstrate. And so you can, they have so many based on different styles or whatever. So just go here, and you go download file, and it's just use that. So then go, and this is your document, and you'll want to set up everything before you start. And also, a good thing to know is how you're going to print this and how you're going to bind it, because that changes the setup a lot. So if you're going to be doing like perfect binding, you have to account for a gutter, or if you're doing spiral binding, you have to account for a gutter. And so laying out your page size and full lead, if you're going to full lead and trim it, do all that before so that everything just goes smoother after that. And if you're going to do Lulu, which is also a really inefficient way to print your portfolio, they have all the sizes on there for whichever size you're going to print your portfolio at, and then you know what how to set up your InDesign document to make sure like full lead works and everything. So you set up your master page, and so the grid the file that they give you has the grid already set up, which is really cool. So first you have this is the document grid. So you go layout, create guides, and this is how you can set up evenly spaced rows and columns. You do that, and you can set it to the margins of the page. So those are the turquoise lines, and then there's the baseline grid, which is another set of letting guides that then aligns to the document grid, but also will then align to your font.
What did you press that just showed us that?
Oh, so Control Alt apostrophe. So, and also you can go to Edit, Preferences, Grids, and then it's Baseline Grid here. That's what's setting up the gray lines, and here you can change the point. So if you want to change it to, let's say 12 point, then you see that it gets bigger, and it should align with the document grid. So I'm going to keep it at 3. So this is really fine, but obviously if you have it finer, then you have a lot more flexibility. So here there's 12 rows across. So then this is useful for, you can start to set up like, if you want a horizontal band on each page. Or if you want like, start setting up
and to get all this stuff to line up, I think you have to work in points, so that's the difficult thing.
Yeah, so this is all in points. That's the only thing that's like different than how I normally work is it's all in points so that it aligns with the font. So I think that's something to get used to. So then you have your layout, and then you can put in your text, and then so the neat thing is like, so you can see here, if the font and the images start to align with this grid, it just all starts to become much cleaner, and the spacing changes according to the font size, but it still aligns to the grid, so everything just automatically snaps and becomes a lot tighter, and the white space adjusts, and it becomes really clean. So you set up your text box, and then you right-click the text frame options, and then here you can snap your font to the leading. So go to text frame options and baseline options, and then you also here it should be in the same increments as like the points in your baseline grid, and then it should start to snap to the left. So I don't know if you can see what it's snapping. So then if I change the size, should also